It's live, pal. Probably gonna go 10 minutes or so. But I wanna ask the question, and I hope everyone can hear me. You can. What makes a good crossover event? There's certain things that need to be hit when we do this. For one, if it's a crossover event, if it's mega, all the characters who've been introduced so far need to be in this event, film or comic book. But they also need to be there for a purpose. It also can't ignore what's happening in their world. For example, let's use Thor in the movies. Thor was on Asgard, the Bifrost was destroyed. All of a sudden, he's back on the in the Avengers. They made a little line, like Loki was like, "Oh, Odin must have used all of that dark energy to forge. I can't imagine how much it took out of him to get you all the way here." That's what they said. And that's why only Thor showed up instead of the Warriors 3 and everyone else. But they sent Thor. That was Asgard's response to Loki running amok in Earth. The next movie we see that the Bifrost has been repaired. Okay. But anyways, every character needs to be there. They need to be there for a purpose. If we're looking at Empire right now, that comic event, 6 issues, they're doing it weekly because they had no choice. They wanted to get it out. Everyone is involved because the Earth is at stake. Okay. But that brings me to like my second subject here is why does the Earth always gotta be at stake? Some events need to be different. Civil War 2, everyone hates that. It's because, what's his name? Ulysses, the Inhuman, could do some mathematical equations to figure out what's going to happen in the future. That was his power. And so he predicted, oh, we're going to get a Thanos attack sometime soon. The Avengers were ready for it, and they saved themselves from dying. That's a cool event. That's not because the whole Earth was going to get destroyed. The problem was, are we predicting crimes before they happen? How could we serve a punishment before the deed is even completed? That was the issue. That's great. Moral conflict. Even the first Civil War, Captain America versus Iron Man. That's a great little conflict that they had over registration. I love that. Let's think of other good events that we've had. I guess reality warping. Yeah, the world was at risk, sort of, but it was just a different take of it because everything did return back to normal. What I need is for that these events to be impactful and not forgetful. Like whatever happens in Empire, are we still going to be talking about it? War of Realms? Yeah, we could talk about that because Thor got his hammer back. He's worthy again. He got so much out of that, out of War of Realms. So he progressed. Everybody else, not so much. And that's what I mean. Everyone needs to come into the event and come out of the event different. Like Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Carol, their relationship was damaged after Civil War 2. That's effective. I want to see stuff like that. I didn't see stuff like that during, let's think of, like War of the Realms. Secret Empire, everything just went back to status quo. Miles was supposed to kill Captain America, but didn't actually kill Captain America. It was a nothing event. The world was at risk. What happened to New York? It was under a dome. That dagger was keeping a light on. Remember that? Like that's what happened. And then we're back to normal. Everything returns to the status quo. That's not what I want to see. I want to see House of M. I want to see a decimation afterwards. I want to see other events like let's think of another good one. I'll think of a bad one. Fear Itself. Wasn't bad. We got to see Cap lift the hammer. That was cool. But when you introduce all these hammers and nothing really comes out of it except for Colossus staying as Juggernaut for like 4 or 5 years, and then they returned him back to normal Colossus, except for that. Shrug. Was it even 4 years that Colossus was Juggernaut? No. Maybe it was 2 years of comic books where we got to read Colossus as a weirdo Juggernaut. That was it. And then everything back to the status quo. That's not good. You know what is good? House of M. 10 of, what's it called? Powers of 10. That one. Everything changed for the X-Men. They got their new country. They live on Krakoa now. They have a new purpose, a desire. They retconned Moira, but it was a good kind of retcon. If there is a such thing, there is a good retcon. And they made Moira eternal. She lives, she dies, and then she's born again in the womb, and all of her memories from the prior life are retained. And then she dies again, and all of her memories from the two prior lives are retained. And she just builds and builds, and she realizes, these people just hate mutants. It is not a game anymore. I need to join up with Magneto. Dies, comes back. I need to join up with Apocalypse. It dies and come back. I need to live as long as I possibly can and get Wolverine's blood inside of me to see where this is heading to. Dies and comes back. That's interesting. That is an event that changed Marvel. And look at comic book sales. Look at how many damn X-Men books that just came out. It used to just be gold, blue, red. And then maybe a Weapon X or some sort of, or a Cable book, right? Or Generation X. See, that's 6 that I just brought up. 6 comic books that they used to do for the X-Men. Now, I mean, they started with 6, but then they gave us a Cable and a Hellions and Everybody book. I think that Civil War 2 and X-Men vs. Inhumans were okay crossovers. Okay, X-Men vs. Inhumans I did enjoy. Civil War 2 I enjoyed. I'm going to say Civil War 2 was more impactful as a crossover event than X-Men vs. Inhumans or Inhumans vs. X-Men. Because at the end of the Inhumans vs. X-Men, all you get is Medusa saying, yeah, I understand, guys. Okay, no more Terrigen Mist. That's how that ended. We could have had more done, man. We could have done, I don't know. We could have had somebody die. That's what I need. I guess I need loss. We just had absolute carnage. The good guys lost that event. They came out alive. They survived the event. But like Carnage said, you win, I win. You lose, I win. There was always going to be a scenario where Null comes out on top. He is free. He's coming to Earth now. The King in Black. He's coming for Dylan right now. Where's the... It should be the center page right here. Wait a minute. I got the wrong one. But there is actually like a preview page. Yeah, this is for September. I should be looking at the previews for October. But the middle page is just boom, King in Black. Null is coming. I need heroes to lose. That didn't happen in Inhumans versus X-Men. They just kind of had a differing of opinions. They clashed. We got to see what it would be like if they fought for 7 issues. And then everything back to normal. See, those events are not good. The movies are a good example of how events should be done. Because it feels like, for the most part, everything that happened in Captain America Winter Soldier, S.H.I.E.L.D. going out, Natasha putting all of the information out on the internet, impacted the next few events. The first being Infinity War, because we didn't have S.H.I.E.L.D. and those helicarriers until the very end, and it felt like a big deal when they came to save Sokovia. Civil War 2, if Natasha hadn't released all of those documents out to the internet, Baron Zemo, Helmut Zemo, Baron Zemo, Zemo wouldn't have had the information he would have had to influence Winter Soldier and make him do the things that he did. The events honor history, recent history, as well as change the outcome of what comes in the future. Because after that, the Avengers broke up. What, like a band, like the Beatles? Yeah, like the Beatles, or like Led Zeppelin. The Avengers broke up. It made Infinity War an automatic loss with the whole team not together. It made Endgame even more sweeter. It's how it's done. Infinity War was a great crossover event. You know why? Every single hero met each other. The Guardians met with Thor earlier in the movie. Later on in the movie, they're fighting Spider-Man, and he's like, "We're the Avengers." What? You're the people Thor told us about. That's how you do crossover events. You've got to... War of the Realms was a good one, too. I'm not saying it wasn't good to read, right? And Thor got to advance and everything. But what did it do for everybody? Why did you tell me all of the heroes are going to be in War of the Realms, and all you really got was like a snow adventure with Wolverine and Spider-Man riding on a Pegasus? Cool story, emotional story, but everything that happened to everyone else didn't really matter. It was so unimportant that Donny Cates, the writer of the Venom comic, said, you know what? Cullen Bunn is going to be writing Venom during these 2 events that happened during War of Realms. He couldn't be bothered. If it's a crossover event, it can't just be for the one character who the event is sort of surrounded around. It's got to be for everybody. So like this Empire event that's happening right now, Hulkling is the main character. Wouldn't you say? He's going to be changed coming out of this, of course. Oh, unless he loses his king status and everything goes back to status quo. That would be a bad example of an event, wouldn't it? What's going on, Thomas? I'm talking about crossover events, good ones and bad ones. We've covered Civil War 2, X-Men versus Inhumans, War of Realms, House of M, the whole House of X Powers the 10. I'm telling you which ones are good ones, which ones are bad ones. The movies have a track record of all being good because they make a big deal out of the teams coming together. Avengers assembling. Let's even go to the first Avengers. That circle shot when you're like, yeah, that's a movie. I remember that franchise. You see, Captain America, there he is, and then you see little Black Widow got her guns. All right, and when we go to Iron Man and he's coming down and the Hulk is yelling, it's so cool to see each of these people, and they make a big deal out of them finally fighting for the first time in the movie, and it happens to be at the climactic end where they're all on the same team. That's crazy. And then in Age of Ultron, they actually did that in the beginning. Remember when they were running in slow motion and the camera just had everybody on the screen at the same time and they zipped to the other side? That was amazing. Crossovers need to have those sort of team events where it shows you that everyone is on the same page. But we need to get there. We can't. We probably shouldn't blow our load in the beginning of the movie. We should probably keep that to the climactic ending, because Avengers Assemble is really, really cool. There's no moment that's going to top the Avengers Endgame battle. It's going to take another 10 years to build up to like an X-Men versus Avengers movie, and maybe that'll be different. Maybe it'll be like Avengers Assemble, to me my X-Men, and we get to see this stare down. They need to milk the stare down for more, eh? The stare down is the coolest part. The anticipation is amazing. That foreplay. They need to do more of that. Let me keep going. I had a thought in my head about which movie was I on. I did Civil War, Age of Ultron. Infinity War? Okay, so Infinity War was awesome because we got to see the heroes interact in different pieces. Thor with the Guardians. That was in the beginning. But then Thor in Wakanda at the end. He got two different interaction moments. Likewise, the Guardians kept visiting planet to planet to planet, and they kept it moving. The team even divided, and they got to meet with everybody. Hulk started up over there with Thanos, gets sent to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and all of a sudden he's talking to Doctor Strange, and all of a sudden he's introduced to all these people he didn't get to meet. There's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man. He was just learning things. The crossover was crazy in that movie, and it felt fresh, and the heroes lost. Very important for someone to take a loss so that they don't come out the same, so that the event was actually event worthy. If the villain is so big and bad, then he needs to be able to win, unless it's the end, which I expect in an event that's like what's an example of the end? I guess Infinity. What's a good example where it was very final? If you can think of an example where, man, these mutants were killing us, these guys were killing us for all these years, and finally we killed Onslaught, like something like that. That would be interesting. But we do need some sort of finality, as long as the bad guy was cleaning house, like Kraven's Last Hunt. That one was a final thing because Kraven's been doing work looking out Spider-Man, hunting him all these years, and then we got Kraven's Last Hunt. Okay, I'll take the villain losing if it's the last time, but it's only because he's got a track record of effing shit up. Being Kraven, I know Kraven's somewhere on this poster. Where is he? Actually, you guys can't even see much of it, huh? The light. Yeah, I thought I'd find him sooner than that. That makes for a boring live stream if I'm just going to look at the image. But that's a good example of a finality, like Kraven's Last Hunt. I love that. If they did that in a movie, I wouldn't like it. like the Phoenix Saga. You can't do that in a movie. You can't put in all of these comics and build up into a 2 hour film. You can have pieces of the Phoenix Saga throughout each movie, piece by piece, and then it could end in a large ass event. That can be done. Phoenix Saga just won't fit in a movie. Anyone disagree with that? Because there's about, how much of you? 7 of you inside of the live stream. You guys can communicate and tell me what you feel. What's a good event? And I'll tell you whether I agree or I disagree with the event. Let's go another couple minutes here. The next, in phase 4 of the Marvel films, they didn't announce a Marvel movie like an Avengers movie. But we do have a movie called Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. They did tell us that Wanda is going to be part of that film. That's 2 heroes crossing over, right? Of course, Wong will be there. But I feel like that was the May blockbuster, at least it was originally scheduled to be May. That one just might be the big crossover event. Let's not forget that. What's up, Tom? Characters cannot feel superfluous. You expect me to know what that word is? Super flawless? That's why the Ninja Turtle Batman and the Ninja Turtle Power Rangers worked. I remember that one. The Lost in Space. No, it wasn't Lost in Space. It was Power Rangers in Space when they teamed up with the Ninja Turtles. That was cool. That's because they were on the same channel, right? I don't think the Sentai version had an actual crossover with the Ninja Turtles. And I never watched or read the Ninja Turtles Batman because I don't know what that is. Characters cannot feel superfluous. Maybe that's a typo. What the hell is superfluous? Superfluous? So the next Marvel event, Secret Wars, might be the next big event. That's what the Russos said that they would ever come back for. And they wouldn't just throw that out there if there wasn't a plan to do it. I think for that event, whole world is at stake. Or actually, isn't that when they get teleported over to Battle World? That's even better. Because how much more times can the world be at stake before people want to move out of New York? That's actually the running joke in comics. It's like, I thought this shit only happened in New York. Kevin Feige is good for knowing what's going on. He takes Spider-Man out of New York all the time. Put him in Washington, D.C. in the first movie. Take him across Europe in the second movie. We've had enough New York incidents. That's where Hulk effed up Harlem. That's where they fought in the beginning of Infinity War, where Ebony Maw showed up. That's where the aliens showed up in Avengers #1. That's 3 events that happened in New York. And there's probably another couple that I'm not remembering. And there's probably another few that are coming. And they know that we can't stick around here in New York for long because too much happens in this one city. And so they're going to go to Korea and Nigeria and other places. And make up places too, like Latveria. Thank you for watching the stream. Thumbs it up. That's the end of this one. Click, click.